For me, there have been many situations where I've shied away from talking to a girl I was interested in due to shyness. Then later, I regretted it. Men, how many times has this happened to you? Edit. Whoa, this thread blew up. I posted this last night because I couldn't sleep, and I woke up to this. Haha, that's amazing. I'll have plenty to read. Story 1. Yeah, the what if is worse than rejection. Rejection you get over in a couple of days, weeks, or months. But you may be thinking, what if, for years? Story 2. So many until I met the girl who eventually became my wife. No regrets now, but it's ridiculous to think I almost didn't introduce myself to her the night we met. So yeah, I guess just freaking say hello. Story 3. I have a story about that which helped me change my mentality. When I was in high school, I had a deep crush on this girl with whom I was friends, but I never made a move due to shyness and fear of rejection. This feeling lasted at least 5 years. We graduated and kind of lost contact. About 5 years after graduation, I had moved cities, and she was visiting. She heard that I was living there, so she called me to hang out. By then, I had moved on and had a girlfriend. We had some beers and were just talking. And at some point in the night, she said, "You know, I had a deep crush on you during high school, but you never showed interest or made a move, so I could know it was mutual." I wanted to express my regret at that moment. 5 years worried about rejection, and she felt the same. At that moment, I only saw her as a high school friend, and I had a girlfriend, but still, that made me realize I had to learn to be rejected and deal with it, or I would never accomplish the things I wanted. From then on, I have taken more risks and have obviously been rejected sometimes, and it's not as bad as I thought. But when the girl actually wants to, it's rewarding to know that you took the risk and succeeded. Summary: I had a crush during high school. Years after graduation, we met, and she told me she had a crush on me but thought I didn't feel the same. Story 4 happens up to several times a week. I would love to have the courage and charisma to get a random date like that. 9 out of 10 times it would not work anyway, but you miss 100% of the chances you do not take. Story 5. There was this girl I had a crush on throughout middle and high school. I was good friends with her and her circle, which included both female and male friends. I mean, I talked to her, but I didn't bring up the topic. I graduated high school and kept regretting that until December of the same year, when we had a gathering for the whole class. I went up to her and confessed. She declined politely, and that was the end of it. I did regret confessing for the next 2 days. I kept thinking that I ruined what little chance I had, but then I realized how much closure it gave me and how pointless it was to keep trying. All in all, a nice chance to tie up a loose end. Summary: I had a crush throughout middle and high school, confessed months after graduation, regretted it at first, but I didn't later as it helped me move on. Story 6. It happens often to pretty much every guy out there, I reckon. I once read about this for second rule, which still helps me to this day, and not just in approaching girls. It basically says that when an opportunity to approach a girl opens up, you have to walk towards them or send them that text within 4 seconds of the opportunity arising. Otherwise, your body will immediately shy away after those 4 seconds. If you don't give yourself time to overthink it, then you will get it done. It's almost like you've got 4 seconds for the fight response. Otherwise, it's the flight response. Try it, guys. Hope it helps. Story 7. Dude, I have lost count. Sorry, I am a shy dork. Kind of why I hate being a man in regards to dating, and my best success with women is when they made the first move on me. Story 8. I have forgotten all the other times, but I had the opportunity to talk to my wife when we were 16 and passed it up because I thought she was out of my league. Then again, when I was 19, I thought the same. After boosting my confidence a bit, I asked her for coffee when I was 21. Beforehand, I had regretted not striking up a conversation each time. Story 9. Met this girl in 7th grade when she transferred to my middle school. We became friends. I thought she was great, but she could never be interested in me. We stayed friends through high school. She was a varsity cheerleader co-captain, a great student, never got into trouble. I was a long-haired metalhead kind of kid. Senior year comes around, I cut off all my hair, stopped doing stupid things, and focused on the future. I'll be damned if she didn't have a crush on me for 6 freaking years. She told me after graduation, and I moved to the other side of the country. Shaking my head. Story 10. I am shy and had trouble meeting girls. In my 20s, I met a very attractive girl, a friend of a friend, at an outdoor concert party. We hit it off and had great conversation. For some reason, I didn't get her number. A few days later, I met another outgoing girl. Not as good looking as the first girl, but in my league. My friend later told me the first girl liked me. I still didn't pursue her. I went for the second girl and married her. Endured 20 years with her until divorce. Story 11. Never actually. For me, I need to have a deep emotional connection before I think about starting something. I cannot really just walk up to a beautiful girl and ask her to sleep with me, date me, or even dance with me or whatever. Were there girls I saw in passing that were ridiculously good looking that I might have liked? Sure, but when they are gone, I forget about them. I cannot even remember their face. The most I have done is partner with some attractive girl on some activity in class or whatever, but then when we are done kind of thing. I remember recently there was a ridiculously attractive girl I worked with, but after working with her, even though she was nice and cool to talk to, I felt nothing beyond her attractiveness, so I did not do anything. I might be the exception, though. I wish I could find the girl that makes everything click, but no luck. Probably will be alone because of this, and I think I am accepting that. By the way, you have to use your handsomeness to do the talking for you if you are shy. It works for my idiotic but good-looking friend. Not that I am saying you are an idiot too. I leave that decision to you. Story 12. Way too many times. Hell, I am doing it right now. I have social anxiety, so it makes it even worse than normal, but there have been so many times I wished I talked to a girl just to find out she was interested later on. I've missed out on a few relationships because of it. The best advice I have gotten from someone is to remember that dating is a numbers game. Sometimes you hit and sometimes you miss, but it is better to have tried and gotten shot down than to have not tried at all. Even in game theory, you should talk to a girl you're interested in. Story 13. It isn't that I regret so much as the very obvious cues that I was oblivious to at the time. Hey, want to come over to my house and go swimming? Oh no, thanks. I don't feel like swimming today. Oh, but we can get changed in my room. That's okay. Thanks anyway. I'll never forgive myself. Laughing my head off. Story 14. The regret for a particular girl I knew throughout my adolescent years was so bad I had to bring it up with my therapist. I had been planning to discuss the subject of relationships in a more controlled manner with him at a future date. But around 6 months ago, the realization that she's gone permanently hit me like a ton of bricks out of the blue. It hurt knowing I had missed my chance with the only girl I've ever had strong romantic feelings for. It hurt so bad I would get teary-eyed in public, and my friends noticed I was not my usual self. I worked out all my feelings towards her with my therapist and went through the 5 stages of grief, but it took a while, and my university grades decreased for that semester. I wish I was joking when I say I failed a semester because I was going through a breakup with my imaginary girlfriend, but it actually happened. While I no longer feel any strong emotional response when thinking of her, I still find myself hoping for one last chance to talk to her and explain things. I was never able to muster the courage to talk to her because of my generalized anxiety disorder and the fact that being in proximity to her would send me into a panic attack. Yes, I know, a stereotypical Reddit virgin too scared to talk to girls. I still miss the idea of her, the what could have been. The quarantine means I haven't been able to meet with my therapist to discuss where to move on from here, how to fully forget about her, how to meet other girls, and how to accept that life happens in unexpected turns. The worst part is I don't even believe in love as some physical force that binds all living things, nor soulmates. And yet this one girl holds so much power over my thoughts. Life. Story 15. All my life since 10th grade, but not because I was attracted to her. She was in my homeroom since 7th grade and was the target of an incredible amount of bullying. So you would think I would have tried to befriend and encourage her, right? Nope, I was too afraid of attracting the bully's attention, so even though I hurt for her and even got angry on her behalf, I never let her know she had an ally, let alone actually stand up for her. She killed herself when we were in 10th grade, and I have never stopped wondering if a few kind words from me could have given her the hope she needed. Story 16, maybe like twice. I have no problem shooting my shot, and I am fairly charismatic and funny. But I am trashy and ugly, so I would say 90% I strike out or misinterpret something that could have been a good friendship. I have a couple of girls ask me why I never asked them out years after the fact, but I just never got the vibe from them. Maybe I am trying too hard to date out of my league? Story 17. Yeah, I'm upset with my younger self. I was so shy and afraid of rejection, but now I look back and realize how many opportunities one missed because of it. Classic case of wish I knew then what I know now. Definitely no reason to be afraid of rejection. Most people are not mean. Story 18. It's weird how there are always loads of guys online who would love to be approached by a woman. But literally 100% of the time a female friend has approached a man, they've been turned down. And a couple of times they were met with extreme emotional confusion. One guy even left town for a week. And this isn't like they forced themselves on the guy, or that these women looked like Rosie O'Donnell asking out Brad Pitt. Sweetly asking, hey, do you want to get coffee or a beer with me sometime? I'm not saying that guys who want to be approached by women are lying, just that maybe it's so rare that I think they sometimes don't know what to do when it does happen. Story 19. From age 14 to 19, my self-esteem was too low to put myself out there at all. I didn't believe I was worthy of love, thought anybody who showed interest was simply wrong and would realize it if I did anything about it, and I was ashamed of my own feelings for people. In hindsight, I should have just been a regular teenager. Nobody cares if you ask a nice girl out and she says no. Nobody cares if you say, hey, want to go grab an ice cream? And she says she's busy and you take the hint. Nobody cares if you go out with someone for a bit and there's no spark and it just fizzles out. When Facebook rolled out the ability to go back and see your posts from previous years, I went through and deleted almost everything. I was so lame. Hey, I'm at the library with Sarah. She made you cookies, you should come by. I wonder why Sarah made me cookies and her friend is telling me to come by. Who cares if you aren't allowed cookies in the library? Just go. Story 20. This isn't so much not talking as not taking action, so to speak. A couple of years back in college, I met this girl in my math class. She was very attractive, incredibly nice, a bit of an introvert but extremely intelligent. All qualities I love. I was already talking to another girl at the time, and it was pretty clear she wanted us to be exclusive, so for the first several weeks of class, I hardly ever made conversation. After a while, we seemed to get paired up to work together quite a bit and would eventually walk to and from class, spending a decent amount of time together. I soon discovered that we had many of the same interests, the same tastes in movies, video games, sports teams, and such. We also just had really great chemistry. We matched each other's level of awkwardness just right. She asked me if I wanted to go to her dorm to study together for nearly every test after our midterm. This never made much sense to me since we both aced every exam, so instead of saying yes, I just recommended people she could study with if she needed extra help. Long story short, the semester came and went. I'm no longer with the other girl anymore, thank goodness, and here I am alone during quarantine. It never occurred to me that she might have invited me to her dorm wanting me to teach her something other than numbers. Story 21. Not often. It's been a while. I had a chance to ask someone out who popped into my workplace occasionally, but my nerves got the better of me. My only real regret on that front. Story 22. Never. I am reminded of an old quote concerning this topic. It is better not to speak and have people think you are a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Story 23. Sometimes I feel women don't really appreciate you approaching them. They are comfortable giving looks and flirting but don't want anything more than that to happen. Story 24. This has happened to me so many times. The most recent one was when I met this girl on an airplane. I was moving to another country, so I had no real interest in pursuing it after we chatted on our airplane ride. As we exited the aircraft, for some reason, I was compelled to ask her name. A few days later, my opportunity in the foreign country fell through, and I could not stop thinking of the girl. Through clues from our conversation and knowing her name, I tracked her down. I called her at work and started to ask her questions to assure it was her, questions that had answers from our conversation. She giggled, knew who it was before I identified myself. and later told me she had been thinking of me since our last encounter. We now have been together 15 years, married for 12. Seize the day. Story 25. Man, if I could go back in time. I'm 46 now and would tell my teenage self to just go for it. Talk to women, listen to them, compliment them, look them in the eye and smile. I was so afraid of rejection when I was younger. No need. There are so many great people out there. Story 26. This has happened too many times to remember. If a girl is showing interest, she is interested. How often are girls going out of their way to talk to you? This is usually the conversation I have with myself after. Story 27. Not talking to a certain girl? No, I'm fine with talking to anyone. But there was this one time that I got a scented letter in my bag. I left my bag alone in the cafeteria before that, so I didn't expect the letter. It was the end of the school year, and I only opened the letter during the summer, only to realize it was someone's confession. They didn't write their name, number, or address though. Wow, man,